So now we're going to talk about just some terminology that you might see with regression. Some of this we're not going to do, but you might be seeing it on the test of having to identify what these are. So interpolation is the process of predicting inside of the observed x values. Extrapolation means that you're observing outside the x values. If you read about this in the book, you'll see it, but other than that, just maybe know the definitions for that. So think inner is within the x values, extra is outside. Outliers. Okay, we talked about these back, I think in module 1 or module 2, so outliers. So these are values that are outside the normal range of the data. And for us, these are data points that are really far away from that line of best fit. They give large errors because remember the large error was that vertical distance from the line to the point. You have to look at outliers closely. And this is a really hard thing for some statisticians to do is I have to gauge, should I keep that outlier in there or should I take it out? And you know, if I'm talking about a drug trial and I have an outlier of somebody who did extremely well on a drug, say like it's a blood pressure medicine and it just took their blood pressure down, I might want to look and identify that outlier to see what caused that, because there might be something else they're taking. They might have started a new exercise regimen. They might be doing meditation, something that could have brought that value down. Outliers are kind of like an aha moment that you need to be like, something is different about this data value. When you use statistical software, it will identify the outliers for you. Okay, so you always got to look for them. All right, so outliers are determined to be in a regression 3 standard deviations away from the line of best fit. When you run if you use the calculator and you run the line of best fit through the calculator, you'll get a sample standard deviation. Outliers are any values that are above 3 standard deviations or below 3 standard deviations. There's also something called influential points. And these are anything that go from 2 standard deviations to 3 standard deviations above the line, or from -2 standard deviations to -3 standard deviations. So while you're not going to have to worry about making these, just know that there's a difference. Influential points, I'm probably not going to take out. I'm just going to look at them and say, okay, there's something going on. Outliers are the ones you're like, all right, I really need to see what's going on with those. Okay, so as a rule of thumb, we flag any point that's located more than 2 standard deviations above or below the line of best fit. And again, if you use the calculator, it gives you the standard deviation. In this class, we won't do it, but you might see in the test where I give you a standard deviation and I give you a point and I say, is this beyond? Is this an influential point or is this an outlier? So make sure to look for those. Even though you don't have to solve for them, remember what those look like. Okay? And again, if we identify a point, that's an outlier. And here in the things we did, if you go look at the data in the book, it was 65 and 175. Because they did not very well on the third test, but they did great on the final exam. And you know what? Maybe somebody realized they really needed to study, or maybe it was a fluke. You keyed the data in wrong. But you have to look at these outliers to see what they mean. Okay?